Welcome back. You're watching Capital Today with me, Ashkin Rahman, on channel 420 HIP TV. For today's for today's FaceTime segment, we're going to take a look at how you can better manage your business, especially in the tough times coming in, through lean management. Today, Raj Arya would actually be speaking to Mr. Ho Fong Lee, who's the founder and chairman of Ho Fong Lee One School of Management. Over to you, Raj.
Thank you, Ashikin. Kong Yi Fa Choi and Happy Chinese New Year, Fong Lee.
Going for joy.
Right, good to see you back in the thick of action, business after Chinese New Year.
Definitely.
That's right.
Thank you.
Now, Fong Lee, before we start delving into the topic at hand, I'm sure some of our viewers would like to know a bit about your personal background before you founded your School of Management.
Okay. For me, it has been a journey of learning, discovery. Back in 2001, I came out on my own. And I started this business in what you call web conferencing with US. Today, you would have probably heard of it, WebEx.
Okay.
Those days, WebEx was like, wow, so big time, nobody knows. I'm the one who brought it. When I approached a lot of corporate customers those days, I said, hey, this can save you money and can do all sort of things, and you can be global via web.
Right.
This guy was saying, no, I don't think so. We want to fly now. Because there was a time when our PM Badawi was talking about globalization, and Malaysian was starting to fly all around the world.
Right.
And here I'm saying, no, cut costs. So we went against that, right? And later on, somebody from US approached me and talked to me about lean supply chain management.
Lean supply chain management.
Yes,
Right,
yes,
interesting term.
Supply chain was so new those days that I was struggling to talk to corporate Malaysia because they were talking about supply chain. What is supply chain? I'm a logistic guy, I'm no supply chain guy.
That's right.
So there was this talking about words, I'm like tough, really tough. But yet I continue with it, and today we have a collaborative effort with local university like IPD OUM, where we brought in. We target our business more to executive education. We realize there's some issues with our academician here.
Right.
The meeting of supply and demand. The private sector is always talking about, hey, you got a lot of supply coming out that doesn't match my demand. So therefore, we're having problem putting people into job.
Right.
And there's a lot of money being spent retraining 4 years graduates to start them to work the right way to meet the company needs. So we say, okay, this is a major opportunity for us. So we say, okay, let's target executive education. And we found a partner like IPD OUM who actually target this kind of market. And we designed a product called Executive Master of Business Innovations and Strategies. Yeah. In any business itself, really, to keep it simple, right? To keep it simple, we are talking about competitiveness of a company. Of course. If we are not competitive, we will lose market share. And there's actually 3 things to look at only, really. Yeah. First thing is increase productivity by improving quality. Therefore, you should be able to sustain your profitability. Basically, these are 3 things. General picture. But of course, when we delve into it, lots of things to do. And we have actually learned this thing directly from Mr. Taichi Ono lineage. Mr. Taichi Ono is the founder of Toyota Production System. Yeah. In Malaysia, we do see such, I would say, many companies, especially the auto industry.
That's right.
They do practice this sort of thing. But to the extent of what level are we achieving as local Malaysian companies? Big question mark. Big question mark.
Right. I think you mentioned the 3 key points.
Yes.
Productivity, then of course
Quality.
which will lead to profitability.
Of course,
Right.
definitely.
Now, you brought up a very interesting point about our graduates having to be retrained. It's quite clear that maybe perhaps our education system may be too theoretical based, that when it comes to application in the real world, there's a mismatch there, and hence a lot of what they have acquired, the knowledge they have acquired, they have learned, it's not so relevant in the real world. What's your thoughts about that? I mean, you've been in the Malaysian education system and you have seen the evolution of it, the growth of it. What's your take on it?
There is a gap between what is happening in the industry and what is happening in the education sector. This is not only in Malaysia, but in overseas, example US. A lot of industry people are brought into the education sector, right? The idea is very simple. This guy comes with a network. You know, all you need to do is just work with these people and say, okay, the university have certain rules to follow. Please do this. But the key thing here is, in order to bridge the gap between the industry and the education sector or these professors, you need to continue to engage the industry. Become a consultant to these people, right? Therefore, you are always, you know, engaging these people and knowing what is happening. By doing this thing, you're value adding this big picture to educate Malaysia, right? We can't be saying we want to educate Malaysia and yet we're saying we are in silo.
That's right.
We can't be in silo. Business doesn't run in silo. You know, we always talk about companies being run in silo. Even if you look at the organization chart, it's all compartmentalized, right? Therefore, at the top level, if the guy do not understand what is silo-based thinking, he will be running a company. But the end result, most of the functional department will be meeting their targets. But the big picture, questionable. Why? Because everybody is doing what they're saying, right? But the big picture, they are not getting it. So the CEO is, I would think they are being challenged now. What is happening? You know, everybody seems to be performing, but my big picture is not achieved. Yeah. So I believe corporate Malaysia, right at the top level, should rethink. You know, it's a funny thing. You know, we Malaysians seem to learn a lot from outsiders, right? But we don't have our own story to tell the world. We are a bunch of followers.
Cool. Now, it's a good point you brought up about followers, for example. Now, of course, to have followers, there has to be a leader. Now, there's always been this distinction that you can be a good manager, but you're not necessarily a good leader. And it looks like very clearly that while you have all these departments and divisions performing well, but if you don't have the big picture, you don't have the leadership, or you don't have the vision, you're still going nowhere. So can you just give the distinction between what is a good leader and a good manager?
I put it to you this way. This is a real example, without naming any names. A company signed an MOU with a foreign company. As usual, after signing MOU, it's time to talk. Start talk serious. Obviously, this guy flew over from that country to the host country in Malaysia. They started walking the floor, right? At one of the station, this chief engineer said, "Stop, let's talk to this guy, this operator." Yeah? He asked, "Do you know how to do this?" Yeah? He said, "Yes, sir, I know how to do this." Next question. "Do you know why
are you
do
doing this?" That's right.
The guy was looking for help with the senior. They said,
supervisors.
"No." Senior, these are senior top executive walking the floor.
Okay.
This guy is the MOU thing. It's not a lower level thing. You don't answer, you answer, right? The guy, no chance, isn't it? Okay. He said, "Sorry, sir, I don't know why."
I'm just told to do this. That's why I'm
That
doing
is the
that.
thing, isn't it? So therefore, after that ended, the guy flew back. He just ended there.
So what's the moral of the
The
story?
moral is very simple, isn't it? In Malaysia, we have knowledge, we learn. Yeah? Competency based, all sort of things we learn. But the question now is this: knowledge evolve, right? Since we only know the how, but we don't know the why,
Right.
it doesn't evolve, right? If you go to the university, you pick up a book, open up at the front part, how many reprint? You will realize the knowledge that we are learning now is old story, right? Fair enough. You need the basic, whatever.
Sure.
But you need to bridge the gap to what is happening in the real market.
That's right.
Therefore, the matching of supply and demand must always be there.
Isn't this synonymous to what's representing our education system right now? People study, regurgitate facts, memorization.
Yes.
So they're very good at all the facts, but they don't know why. It's basically the creative element, challenging the norms and all that. That is the one which is severely lacking. And that's very much the the sum of the story you just gave us now, right? The example.
Definitely. This sort of thing must be inculcated right at this kind of level. So when they bring them into the market, right? And companies have expectations. Yeah, I pay you a certain
Sure.
amount, I expect certain thing to come out.
Right.
When they see these people, they say, oh my goodness, this is all I have to work with. So they have to start retraining, redoing everything, and that costs the company money. That isn't it? So what they have found, or they have proposed to the government, anyone who has got a passport with a Japanese name, even the picture looks black, they can come back to Japan to work.
Okay.
That means they are restarting whatever they have achieved earlier from scratch. These guys, most of them are from South America, Latino, this kind of
Yes.
guys, okay, salsa guy or this kind of
Yes.
fellas, right? They grew up with that. So they came over, no nuts about TPS, so they have started rebuilding it, and they have successfully done it, right? So this is not a matter of, this is a thing where only Malaysian companies are facing it, right? The key thing here, it goes back to productivity.
Sure.
If you're productive, you can afford to pay more. Example. The Japanese sensei showed me names of workers or staff, list of expertise or skills. I saw on the list, some of the guys can do 8. They got 8 skill sets, right? Therefore, you can expect them to be paid more.
Of course.
Over here, we have a guy who only know to do one thing.
That's right.
So in order to improve payment or salary, how do you improve? This guy only know one skill. You want to pay him,
Right.
you cannot pay
And
him.
if you need someone if you need the 8 skills, you have to employ 8 different people,
That's the
8
problem.
times the cost
so
compared to one
immediately
person
one cost,
who has
isn't
8.
it?
That's right.
That's the thing. So therefore, if we think as employers, we invest in this way, right? People are more skillful, they can do more kind of works, you will need less people to work,
That's right.
right? When you have less, you have more on the table to share. So that is the way to work it out.
Win-win situation.
Definitely. So therefore, if you say the guy will be jumping around, I don't think so.
Right.
Why? Because he knows he's gaining more from
That's
the
right.
company because of his expertise.
And he's
his skill.
adequately compensated. Very important
Definitely.
as well.
The company can afford it. There's more on the table now. You can do more. If you work the other way, I need more people
Right.
to get the same output. Doesn't make sense.
But this is a very big thing. You're talking about structural change because it's not about, like, for example, in Malaysia, we introduced the minimum wage, but it's still very much at the surface level. We haven't really addressed it in terms of the keyword is
Productivity.
productivity.
No point. No point. That only helps to. It's a pain. People talk about it.
Right.
But the real root cause, we are not productive, right? Our quality of product is an issue, right? We need to go out and compete. Malaysia is a small market, right?
Yes.
We need to go out and sell, right? If we do not address these issues right at the root cause, it's not going to happen. We have a lot of technology being bought into Malaysia, right? And the issue here is, most of the times we are caretaker. We just operate it.
Right.
You know, when the question is asked, how do we improve it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
It's warranty issue. That's all.
Good
we
point.
don't touch because there is an issue.
Right.
We don't evolve. Can you imagine, let's say me and you go to this Toyota plant in Japan. As we walk through the floor, we will be able to see improvement being made by the second right at the operator level. Now that is what we need to achieve.
Right. So I guess they take ownership. They are very much involved in the entire process. But Fong Lee, we're going to have to take a commercial break right
Yes,
now.
definitely.
When we come back later for our second part of this interview, we're going to find out a bit more about his school of management and hopefully how are they going to do things differently to address this supply chain issue between supply and demand, which is very integral in order to enhance our productivity and hopefully improve our quality and in the end lead to profitability. So do stay tuned here on Capital Today.